Welcome to the Design Dash podcast, your guide to designing a life you love. Join us as we explore the keys to living the life you want without compromise. Welcome to the Design Dash podcast, your guide to designing a life that you love. We start every podcast by thanking our sponsor, and that is Monogram Appliances. Monogram has been a longtime partner for us here at Design Dash, as well as our design firm, Laura U Design Collective. And we really love them because they believe in three main pillars that we, as creatives, can easily get behind. And that's materials, performance, and ownership. Each of these upholds their commitment to high quality, innovation, and their ongoing relationships with designers and with homeowners. And we believe that that community and relationships are everything. This idea of ownership really resonates with us as well, because Design Dash is all about aspiration and action. And this is the foundation that our lives are built upon. So today we're going to be speaking with Gin Braverman. She is an interior designer here in the Houston area, and we absolutely love her. I think she's been friends with Laura for a very long time. So this is going to be a nice, fun podcast for us today.
And just a little bit about Gin. So she is the founder and creative director of Gin Design Group. She has spent the last decade shaping Houston's burgeoning hospitality scene. She develops fully integrated designs for award-winning food and beverage concepts, independent chefs, sommeliers, and national restaurant and hospitality groups. She has had a very winding path to founding her own firm and what she's doing now. So we'll delve into that a little bit, because I think everyone can appreciate the journey and getting to a life you love and the decisions that we make along the way. So let's dive in. Welcome, Gin. I'm so happy you're here.
Hi,
Thank
Gin.
you for chatting with us today.
Yep, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, you sound really excited. It's not that you're heading out of town today, right?
I was, and now this weather, everyone's freaking out, so I'm not going anymore.
Oh, no.
All right. So, well, good. Then we can just talk for like 3 hours since your day cleared up. I love that. Thanks for letting us know. So just to kick us off, the whole premise of Design Dash is that we are a guide to designing a life you love. And I feel like you're very intentional about your life, or at least you make it look that way. So have you thought about your life as something you curate, just like you would a design or a project or a restaurant? Do you think about your life like making intentional decisions that have designed it to get you where you are today?
The truth is no. I started off with, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I always knew I was a good designer, but I thought that was just too easy and I needed to be a doctor or something. So it took me a long time to finally, quit pre-med and like figure out exactly what I wanted to do. And even then it was more out of just sheer necessity. I had to do something because I'd moved back from New York and I didn't have a job. And I had been doing an HGTV show that, was really intense, and I learned so much, and I was like, well, at least I know how to do that. I know I can do it. I'm good at it. I enjoy it. So I started taking clients, and I really didn't intend to have a firm. I just I joke that I looked up like 4 years later and was like, oh, I have employees and things, and I guess this is real. So, I was kind of the opposite of intentional, and I don't recommend it. It's taken a while to find intentionality, and I have, and I'm excited about my job. I have goals and I have rocks and all the things, now, but the first 7 years were kind of a shit show. And it's all kind of forming now into this thing that I think most people just assume it is from the beginning, but it's really starting to turn into, I think, what I would have designed it to be if I had actually started off with intention.
And so you said 7 years, you said 4 years, but was that that shift from being like flying by the seat of your pants, building this firm by necessity, all of a sudden I have these people working for me. How did you make that decision to like, oh, I need to like put some processes in place. I need to get my shit together. How did you, like, what, was there some catalyst? Like what happened that was a decision you made?
It wasn't like a decision. It's been this, like, again, slow burn out of sheer necessity and panic at times. We need to have this. I mean, we've written and rewritten SOPs many times. We're in the middle of rewriting them now. I mean, things change as you grow, and so you can't ever just think you're done. And this is because that's when I think firms really start to get in trouble, is when they get set in their ways. I mean, we're using IT now to write SOPs. It's it's a whole different ball game than it used to be. So it's just staying intentional about keeping things current and really just being adaptable, because things change all the time in the industry, within the firm, within your own life. I mean, any one of us, I'm sure, has experienced drama and trauma and stress and different things in our personal lives. And so, your business life really does reflect that. And sometimes you don't just keep going business as usual. Sometimes you really do have a year where you're just like, that year sucked. My head wasn't in the game and bad things happened because of it. And now, like, that, that was kind of last year for me. And this year, everything's looking great and going super well. And so it's, it's never perfect. You're always rolling with the punches. But as you said, if you start with intention and kind of design what you want, you have a North Star and something to be striving for, and not just kind of floating along.
You had mentioned, though, that after those 7 years, like, something kind of clicked. Like, so what are the things that made you feel like, okay, I am on the right path, I'm doing the right thing, whether intentional or not?
I mean, when you have 10 plus employees, you just, you have no, it's kind of like, I employ all these people, I have mouths to feed. This is real, And so that's, once you hit a certain amount of people, I really, had to start taking things seriously. Not that I didn't take it seriously. I took my clients seriously. I took the work seriously, but I didn't take owning a business as seriously. I didn't want to be a business owner. I wanted to be a designer. And that, I think, is the hardest thing to reconcile in this industry is, when you want to design and you want to create, the business just gets in the way, and it's a real pain. But if you don't take care of it, then you lose your opportunity to design or work with great people. And so that I think was where the shift happened, when it was like, okay, I have to be a business person in order to design. And the amount of time I get to design is going to take a hit, but ultimately I'll get better projects and have more fulfilling work. So, it's kind of just this, like, cycle. I don't want to say it's a vicious cycle.
Do you really work to protect your creative time? And you said you have 10 employees. Like, is there somebody else there who's handling that business stuff? You're just like, man, I don't want to do this ever, and I want to focus on the creativity.
Yeah, I mean, it comes and goes. I've had business development people in the past, and it's great. I've done it myself, and it's great. I love it. I love doing that. Traveling, not so much anymore with a 7-year-old, but that's another balance that is always changing. When she was a baby, it was a whole different ballgame. Now she can say, "Don't go on that trip. Stay with me." And I have to weigh out which trips are important enough to not be with her. So.
Yeah, that's so hard. And, in preparation for this, because I think all three of us here are working mothers. And I found this Harris poll, it came out in 2022, where 42% of the working mothers that they surveyed had been diagnosed, not just said that they felt this way, but had been diagnosed clinically with depression or anxiety. And I think that all of us struggle with that mom guilt. I have a 12-year-old now and a 2-year-old. The 2-year-old can't tell me that he doesn't want me to leave, but that 12-year-old certainly can. And I remember when she was probably about 7, and she had drawn something at school, and it was me at my desk just working away. And I think she had, like, tried to write down, like, "Mama's busy" on the side, and it just killed me. And so, what you're saying really resonates with me. I don't know if the pandemic really helped. Like, is there something that you're doing to really overcome that kind of anxiety or that mom guilt? Because I would love to know how I can get over my
Same.
Yeah, it's something that takes a lot of work. And the one thing that I've really dramatically changed is when I'm with her, focusing on how I act. I mean, I used to be like preoccupied with my phone, and sometimes I still am. I'm not perfect, but I'm more
Yeah.
mindful of how I act, and like if she interrupts me, not getting annoyed with her and not snapping, because that I think it's at the end of the day, you just have to think back to your own childhood, and like it's the quality time more than the quantity time that
Yeah.
really sticks with you in your memory, and like how you feel about your parent, and not so much how often you felt that way, but how you felt when you were with them. And so I just try to think about that, and like, what are we doing? Are we watching a show that we're both enjoying and we're talking about and we can like talk about later? And we're, if she has to watch TV, are we watching something that like we can both do? And like, if I'm gone, am I able to check in with her and call her or bring her back? I always bring her back a little, travel gift or something, something simple, book or, but just something so she knows I was thinking about her while I was gone. It won't ever be perfect. She'll always hate that I go, but I can't help but hope that absence makes the heart grow fonder, and maybe when she's a teenager, she'll love me a little more than I'm worried about will happen, because little girls grow into teenagers and then they stop loving their mothers, and I'm like, I always tell her, never stop loving your mama, and she's like, oh, I won't. I want to live at home in college. And I'm like, yeah, you do. But
Oh, I'm like, no, you don't. You're not living here. So
you're
I
already
think,
in Greenland.
so I think, yeah, that all makes so much sense and actually gives me some ideas, especially because I travel a lot for business. And the girls have gotten used to it because I've done it since they were really little. So having twin 11-year-olds, they both address it totally differently. Same age, same stage. They're so different. But I can employ some of these ideas, I think. So bringing them something back. I've always done
Gifts.
that. Yeah, gifting.
Buy that love back.
Yeah, exactly.
And my love.
But just having like between Melissa and I, we have a gaggle of preteens. So 11 and 12-year-old girls. It's not easy. And I think like
Looking
they
forward to
love
it.
you. They still love you. But I said to Liv yesterday, I'm hugging her and I'm like, God, I love you so much. It hurts my heart. Like I physically feel it in my heart. And she looked at me and she goes, nice.
When like 5 years ago, she would have
Nice.
said, of course. Oh, I feel the same way.
Yeah, I love you so much.
You fill my bucket. You fill my bucket. And I love that. And she's just like, yeah, okay, bruh. Anywho. So
there is a lot of
with
bruh
all
going
the
on
travel,
in this age.
there's a lot of bruh. All the travel and like being on site with these amazing award-winning chefs, and you own this award-winning, really highly regarded firm. So from the outside, the life of a designer looks super glamorous. It looks so glamorous, and we get that
So
all
glamorous.
the time. Like, oh my, so glamorous! Like you must really love everything you're doing, and oh my God, you're a designer. How fun! And yeah, that's true a lot of the times. And that's why we started this, at least for me, is that I wanted to travel and I wanted to interact with these highly successful people that are doing really cool things. But most of the time, the people that are commenting on how glamorous this is have seen those final editorialized interior photos. So that's not what it really is. So I think what I'd like to know is from you, what's truly glamorous about your work? Like what really qualifies as that? And then what is like the worst thing? What is not glamorous at all that people just wouldn't even think about?
I'd say the things that feel glamorous are things like award ceremonies. When you win, that's glamorous. Going to an award ceremony and you don't win is not so glamorous. But no, I don't know about glamorous. It's even travel like isn't glamorous. You have to get up early and be at an airport, and you have to like eat airport food, and like I don't know, like I'm not complaining. It's weird. I guess the definition of glamorous, just feels like everything's like so everything's so great all the time. And like, everything is great. I have nothing to complain about, but like every morning, like the scramble to get out the door, there is nothing glamorous about that. And like, you know, scrambling to get your child out the door and like always being like just 5 minutes later than you want to be to everything. And, you know, that's not glamorous. You know, there are things you can do about that, but you know, that requires planning ahead, which clearly I've never been good at. But yeah, I don't know, glamorous, I guess, you know, photo shoots aren't glamorous, but they are, because finally getting those shots after all that work it's so rewarding. And I'm trying to make our photo shoots more glamorous. I'm trying to shift a little and make them more like kind of fashion meets interiors, because kind of into both. And I think it brings a little more of a dynamic aspect to some of the work. But so yeah, I don't know, I'm kind of rambling, but glamour, I think, is very much a word that describes this intangible thing. I don't know that glamorous truly exists in the day-to-day. Maybe it's just me. Maybe some people have glamour in their day-to-day, but I don't, and I'm okay with that. It feels like a lot.
Good. All right, Melissa, kicking it to you.
We talked a little bit about travel, and I know it's really hard to pull yourself away from your kiddos, but can travel be like, what are the positives that you find about travel? Like, what do you find inspiring about it? And maybe even like, what was your favorite destination that you went to recently?
The most inspiring destinations for me are places that have great art. Hands down, I will travel to an art fair any day over anything else. Music festival, food festival, like all of that I love, but like an art fair, done. You know, I've been lucky enough to have gone to Basel in Switzerland and Miami. I prefer Switzerland. Miami's a little bit of a scene. But Nashima, this art island off the coast of Japan, is my favorite place in the world. I went it's been like 8 years, but I went about 8 years ago, and it's still one of my favorite places. It's just an art-filled island. It's really incredible. And Salone, I've been, and some of my team and I are going again this year, and I love the design aspect of it, but the art is just incredible. The art installations, and that's glamorous. Going to art fairs is glamorous for sure.
I was going to say, this is so glamorous. What are you even talking about? What the hell? This beautiful art island off of Japan.
That was a long time ago. I haven't had glamour lately. It's hard to have glamour.
Okay, so maybe we need to plan some glamour travel, but you have Milan coming up. You're going to Salone, so I would count that. But it is work. Like going to that kind of event, I think you're right. It is work. Like we're going to Maison, and it takes a lot of planning because you want to make sure you're doing the right stuff while you're there, because it's not inexpensive to travel, and there's so much opportunity that you don't want to miss out. But I think you're full of it. I think there's plenty of glamour happening for you.
Well, we're getting back to glamour.
Yeah. So I think we're wrapping it up here. So just like a few rapid fire questions, and you can answer with one word or you can elaborate. Feel free. So first, software platform that changed your life.
My life or my team's life?
I mean, if your team is happy, then your life's pretty damn good. So theoretically.
We're constantly upgrading. I know that right now we really like our time tracking software, Factor. It's not glamorous, but it's solid.
It's solid. Solid's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Second, when you're feeling drained, what do you do to get your energy flowing again? Like a wellness situation or whatever it is, working out.
I go to yoga all the time. That's the thing. I can't do anything else. If I'm doing anything else, I feel like I'm wasting my time. If I'm doing yoga, I'm like getting it all.
All right. Last question. Mocktail or cocktail of the moment?
This restaurant that we just designed, June, makes this incredible mocktail, and that's I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's like ginger and basil, and it's so incredible. Well, I'll have to look it up, but yeah, I'll put it in the notes.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. Well, we're going to share that. We're going to share it later.
Two things together.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
They make the
Melissa, do you have
version.
anything to close?
No,
Yeah, they probably
I think
do
that this is just a really good conversation, talking a little bit more about what it's like to be a woman in business sometimes. And I love how you say that it's not all glamorous and that you didn't arrive here with intentionality, because I feel the same way about myself. And then when I hear people who have done it intentionally, I'm like, well, what am I doing wrong? But now I feel like I'm doing everything okay, because I do feel fine about it. It's just only when people ask me about it, I'm like, it's not how it was for me. So that was good.
And that's okay. It's different for everyone. Like, I made a list of the things I was going to accomplish by the time I'm 30 because I'm a psycho type A. Wait, are you both firstborns?
Yeah.
Second, but
Okay.
with such a big family, kind of like a firstborn.
Okay. Anywho, thank you for joining us. So tell us if our listeners want to find you, where are they going? Online, digitally, not physically, because that'd be creepy.
Just come on over. Our website is gindesigngroup.com. Same on Instagram and, LinkedIn. If you must, I'm there.
If you must, there's nothing wrong with LinkedIn, Jen.
I love LinkedIn. You can stalk everybody.
Yeah. And you can also hide yourself so they don't know you're stalking too. Okay. So happy stalking, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us at the Design Dash podcast. Jen. And thank you so much to Gin Braverman for spending time with us today.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Thank you for listening. Make sure to check out our next podcast, coming live next week on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. In the meantime, you can find us and more wonderful stories like these on designdash.com. And make sure to follow us at Design Dasher on Instagram and TikTok. Till next time.